I forgot to mention in the original video about these two top roller. They both had a plate in them. And they both were leaking. They don't have anywhere over here. I could fix them by bore the inside and then buy a bigger shaft, machine it to fit, tab it, and machine this side to fit on the track itself. But I found two new ones. They never been used. They just store them outside and they were rusted from the outside. I paid $175 for both of them shipped. They came from Canada. So I thought that is cheaper and make more sense than try to manufacture all these parts. I thought to share this information with this video. The top rollers arrived and I'm ready to replace those shafts. This one in good shape, but I'm gonna go ahead and change it. This other one, it's bad. It's a little bit undersized, and so I'm gonna grind it from underneath and pull this one out. This weld, the only thing hold it, so I assume by grinding this I could press this out, put the new one in, make sure it's the distance is right over here. So we have here the right distance over here, and weld it up. It's being grounded, ready to come out. Both of them. And for hit with this hammer, it came out very easy. Both of them. This one took about 4 or 5 hits and it came out. The original video had a lot of wind noise, so I decided to do a voiceover. I was able to find the seals for the top rollers. I bought them off eBay. I paid about $9 a piece shipped. And I also discovered when I removed the top rollers and I measured the shaft, I discovered they welded them less than what the manual recommend. The manual recommend to have at least, or the minimum dimension, to be 4.953 inches from the face of the seal to the outside of the shaft. These, they were welded at 4 7/8 inch, about 4.875 inches. This show my weld to these shafts. It came out real nice. I apply some silicone to the surface of the bracket and to the surface of the top roller where the seal gonna sit to help seal it better. And I also apply some to the top cover, even though the top cover had an O-ring or have an O-ring. I decided to add silicone to prevent moisture from building rust between the roller and the cover. This show the finish top roller job. I painted them with the same primer I use for the channels. I was trying to hurry up because it started raining immediately after I finished with this video. It show over here the dimension that I was talking about earlier from the manual, so I made sure to stay within this dimensions. I use caliper to give me better measuring than the tape measure. The And as you saw from the beginning of this video, I still have the original tab rollers and the shafts. I may fix those in the future. I will post some pictures after this footage over here. It shows the completely assembled channel, and then I will follow it with video of the installation of both tracks to the dozer itself. Really, the undercarriage for this bulldozer, it was easy job. If you have all the materials available, there is not much to it. I made sure to replace all the hardware, all the bolts to grade 8 standard bolts. All the bolts in this machine is standard. It doesn't have any metric hardware. I made my own grips for the idler by using 2 by 1/2 inch flat stock. I grounded this area over here and I filled it with ABR. I grounded about 1/8 inch and then grounded flat, and then mounted this 1/4 by 1.5 inch flat stock and drill it to the right size. What I did, I welded 70-18 on the other side just to preheat the metal, and that caused it to bow in one direction. And then when I filled it with that ABR rod, that straightened it up. And then I added that 1/4 by 1.5 inch flat stock and I welded on the other side, and that also applies some heat so the ABR won't crack, because this material required preheat and post heat. And as you see, it's very straight. And I made sure it's flat. Like I said, this material is very hard to grind, but it doesn't rust, and it has excellent abrasion resistance. I made sure to follow the recommendation of the manual. This shows that I only have 0.6 of inch clearance to make sure the idler free. The leftover material from that AR 400 anti-abrasive blade, I made those gap inside. I apologize, I don't have any video footage of that, but it's very simple. It's basically flat stock with the 3 tabbed hole for 1/2 inch bolts. And it came out real nice. The idler doesn't have a play. I made sure to use 5/8 grade 8 bolts, and they threaded inside the idler about 1.25 inch. I used 2-inch bolts. And this one over here shows the pin that I have to fix. Actually, I did that on both sides. I filled this area with weld, and I also filled this with weld and ground it down to size. And I decided to use the original gib. It can be used both sides. So I was able to reuse it. It's still good to this date. And as you see, it fit perfectly. I have very minimum play. And you use those to shim the track in and out to align both the track to make sure they parallel to each other, and also each channel or each side rollers are centered with the sprocket. As you see, I install one of the guards so I could install it, and after I install this bracket, I install the other side. So it has all the new rollers, tab roller, idler. I had to fix this fork, make new cover for it, have a new kits inside, a new seal kit, and I made a new shaft for it. This shaft, it's go against a spring in that housing on the right side, so the idler will be spring loaded against the chain. The place where I bought the rollers and the idler, I show picture for the guy over there, and he told me do not use the rod guards. When I show him I was welding the rod guard, he said don't use them because they prevent you from cleaning and all that. But in my opinion, they necessary to be there because they part of the structure of this channel. So I left them in, and I have no issue cleaning this chain. So it's a good idea to leave them on. I just have to install the gib on this idler and I'll be done with this side. That was easy. I will not tie these until I have the other side on, and then I'm gonna install the sprocket and make sure it's centered with the roller, and then I'm gonna install this and shim it in and out until I have this one and the other one parallel to each other. After I install the sprockets, the left side sprocket didn't spin freely. I could spin it if I use long pry bar, so I suspected there is issue in the differential box. I have the brake adjuster loose and should be free. The other side spin freely without any issue. So I decided to rebuild the differential box. I will show you that in the next video. I also have hydraulic leak over here, and I ended up fixing that as well.